So like going back to like this meditation practice, I started meditating when I was working in outbreaks. So this was 2014 outbreak. I was working on Ebola,
Oh,
MERS-CoV, and
yeah.
H7N9. So these three. And it was literally the day that I left was the day that it was declared a public health emergency of international concern, which is like the highest bar of alarm that can happen, like the WHO can like ring basically. So I was in these meetings with people who were the decision makers of the world. Like imagine being in the room where all decisions for what's happening right now is being made. I was in
That's
there.
insane.
And I
That's
was
so
an
crazy.
intern, and
What was
it
your work?
was I was basically inputting all of the data of anytime someone was sick into the system and writing their symptoms, their temperature, every single
What?
person. So imagine, like, I can't even think of the math. Literally, that was one human. That was me, like,
Yeah,
doing
that's
that for
crazy.
the beginning part of like Ebola outbreak. I could take about 10 data that I could like input in one by one, you know? But imagine, you see the numbers with COVID. I can't imagine how many interns or how many people, humans, are inputting that information, because every single human being, you see their whole profile of it. You don't see their name, but you see their age, you see their gender, you see their symptoms, you
Hmm.
see like notes on like where they started, like what kind of contact they've had, and all these things, and you map them out. Every day we need a new map of like where in the world all of these, where it's like spreading basically. And so that
That's
was my
so
job. And
interesting.
then it became like, then 5 other people were hired to do my job because it was like too overwhelming. And that's what happens with outbreaks. And I really was struggling with my job.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, I had no awareness of being sensitive then. Okay, this was like way beyond that. That I
Mhm.
was like taking in all these things. So I was in this room, and when I started meditating, it was like an absolute must. I could not go back to work without meditating first. It was more just like a absolute coping mechanism. But because I started meditating and I was in these rooms with people who were not meditating and they were exhausted. Let me tell you, in these rooms, like,
Yeah.
they're all physicians. They're all PhD. They all hold PhDs. They all have very high positions. They're all politically very well connected. Everyone is super smart. But like someone like my boss was on 14 cups of espresso a day, you
Oh
know?
my
And
goodness. His nervous
and they were
system.
not and they were not even present. They were not present. And so when I started meditating, I started like this whole new world started opening up to me. And
Mm.
so I would go into these rooms and I would just be like, oh my God, no one in this room is awake. I would be like, and it's not that they're bad people or that they're not trained.
Mm.
They're just tired. They're
Yeah.
just tired as hell. And their biology is just, and they're not eating food that nourishes their body, mind, and spirit. Let's not even talk about whether or not they think they have spirits here. Okay, like that's like a whole other issue here. You know, like, so it was just, so since then, it was always on my mind that like I really need to work with people who are very high up decision makers and help basically give them tools to be able to function and do their job well, and also for them not to get exhausted. Like, because, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes because you're so respected, because you're so cool, because you're so educated, people think you're kind of like good to go.
That's
It's like if you
fair.
ask them, "How are you?" It's as if you like are throwing all their education away, but it's like, no, you're just asking the human
Hmm.
person how they are doing. And this is something that like doctors or like caregivers, they're so busy taking care of other people that they don't even have the time to think of themselves. That's really what it is about. So when I am usually thinking about things, I'm always thinking about who's the person getting most neglected in the room. And to me, that's always the healthcare workers, because all they're doing is providing for other people.
How interesting.
So yeah.